from his grave. So the Prophet ﷺ will be the first person, right, so to speak now, to be born again. After the destruction of the universe, as you and I know it, the Prophet ﷺ would not have been dead, so to speak. It's just that he will be resurrected first, right? And there's another narration there that, as I said, right, some of them, فَصَعِقَ مَنْ فِي السَّمَاوَاتِ وَمَنْ فِي الْأَرْضِ إِلَّا مَنْ شَاءَ اللَّهِ. Right? That when the first trumpet is blown there, all people will fall into a stupor, in a state of, unconsciousness and whatever it is, إِلَّا مَنْ شَاءَ اللَّهِ, except those whom Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wills. Amongst them will be Musa alayhi salatu wasalam. Reason being that Musa alayhi salam already lost consciousness once. وَخَرَّ مُوسَى سَعِيقًا. When he asked to see Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right, when فَلَمَّا تَجَلَّى رَبُّ الْجَبَلِ جَعَلَ دَكًّا وَخَرَّ مُوسَى سَعِيقًا. Musa alayhi salam lost his consciousness. Now the Prophet stated, he says, when I am resurrected from my grave, I will see Musa alayhi salatu wasalam conscious, clinging on to the arsh of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because that will be a means of him not having lost consciousness. Now there are some scholars who have given the view there that the shuhada will also not be, will not die, so to speak, in their graves. Remember, at the first blowing of the trumpet, people who are living will be dead. But because the shuhada have been given life by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they will still be alive, but there may be a temporary loss of consciousness. But Musa alayhi salam and other malaika will see through the entire process of the destruction of the universe with the first trumpet, and most of the scholars, the vast majority of scholars, include the Holy Prophet ﷺ in this. And the Prophet ﷺ says, I will be the first one to be resurrected. And the people that will be resurrected with him will be whom? His two companions, Sayyidina Abu Bakr Siddiq and Umar Farooq radiallahu ta'ala. And who else? One more person. That's it. Just because he's his name, that's all. Isa alayhi salam. Because where is Isa alayhi salam going to be buried? Exactly. The penny dropped. Okay. Right? Isa alayhi salam will also be resurrected. But the Prophet will be the first one to be resurrected. And the inhabitants of Jannatul Baqi and the inhabitants of Jannatul Mu'alla will also be the first ones to be resurrected, and they will join the people in resurrection. Right? Now, this is very, very important. I want to narrate this to you because I want to show you the haya of Mu'mineen Aisha as-Siddiqa radiallahu ta'ala, the modesty of Mu'mineen Aisha as-Siddiqa radiallahu ta'ala. Hazrat Aisha as-Siddiqa radiallahu ta'ala states that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam stated that you will be resurrected in this condition, that you will be barefooted, right, and you will be unclothed and you will be uncircumcised. Hazrat Aisha Siddiqa radiallahu ta'ala said, Ya Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, men and women will be looking at each other, in that condition. Remember, a child is born as a child. When you are resurrected from your tomb, you'll be fully fledged adults. Right? So, Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam stated, this is Sahih al-Bukhari, he said, oh Aisha, the situation will be so tense and the situation will be so calamitous that people won't even, the thought of, or the realization that everyone is naked without clothes won't even cross people's mind, because they've been in such a state of anxiety, in such a state of trauma, that they realize, we don't have clothes on. It's going to be of no consequence, right? Then the Haafiz ibn Hajar Asqalani narrates in his sharh of Sahih al-Bukhari, he narrates there, radiallahu ta'ala anha, Ya Rasulullah, Bibi Aisha asked him, Ya Rasulullah, won't people have any shame? They won't have any haya, that, hey, you know what, I need to cover. The Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, right? He stated that people will be in such a state of mind that they don't even bother about that. And Mustadrak Hakim stated that Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha read this, when she asked this question again, the Holy Prophet sallallahu read this verse, لِكُلِّ مْرِئٍ مِّنْهُمْ يَوْمَئِذٍ شَأْنٌ يُغْنِي, in Surah Abbas. Right? In the 30th Sibara, the Prophet ﷺ said, right? These people who are in a such state of anxiety, sorrow, concern and stress and whatever it is there, right? That they will be independent of everybody. The guy will be so preoccupied with himself there, he's not worried whether he's got clothes on or whether he's got no clothes on, whether anyone around him has any clothes on there, because he will be in a state of nafsi, nafsi, myself. You don't see anything else. Which means, your normal intellectual function will not be there anymore in terms of, looking at this one. Right, you are all going almost like in a zombie-like state. You'll be resurrected from your graves and you'll be put in that. And then in Tirmidhi and Hakim also narrate them. Hazrat Aisha Siddiqa radiallahu ta'ala anha narrates this verse. She says, وَلَقَدْ جِئْتُمُونَا فُرَادًا كَمَا خَلَقْنَاكُمْ أَوَّلَ مَرَّةٍ. Right? You will come to us alone. كَمَا خَلَقْنَاكُمْ أَوَّلَ مَرَّةٍ. The way we created you the first time. Unless you were a twin or you were quadruplets or you were triplets, right? You didn't come out together. I think even quadruplets don't come out together. They come one out at a time, right? So in that state, although all people will be resurrected all at once, there'll be a hierarchy. The Prophet ﷺ for Sahaba Kiram, Jannatul Baqi, Jannatul Mu'alla, and the rest of humanity will be resurrected. But the condition of the people will be such, it will be as if you were independently resurrected. So in the state of independence, mustaghni, right? In the state of independence, you're not be bothered about whether you got clothes on, you got nothing to buy, you got other things to worry about. You got other things to worry about. Now, once that happens, right, let me give you this, right, she stated here, right, she stated there that men won't look at women, women won't look at men. Any type of, sexual inclination or sexual innuendo will not exist on the day of Qiyamah. There's too much more to be bothered about than all of these matters. And then all of us, like the Holy Quran says there, will be resurrected. Now let's go to the 24th Sipara and then we can give the translation from there. This is very important. I want to concentrate on the Mizan, right? On judgment itself. Right? And I want to give a lot of time on the Mizan because the Mizan is a very extensive discussion. It's a very extensive discussion, and I want your attention in this matter here. So I'm not going to discuss the Mizan today. I will discuss it as a separate topic next week, inshallah ta'ala. Because we will discuss all those ahadith, like I mentioned to you last week, in terms of what or who will be taken to account. Who will be taken to account first? What will be the deeds that people will be held accountable for? What are the things that we should be prioritizing in this dunya in terms of accountability? What Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala regards as being very, very critical in terms of being asked first about whatever it is there. There are so many ahadiths which relate to this. I don't want to discuss this now because it will veer away from our basic discussion. So we're moving in a sequence here. We discussed the destruction of the universe. Now we're discussing the resurrection of human beings and the reconstruction of the universe. Now let's go to 24th Sipara, Surah Al-Zumar. Around verse 70, I think. Alhamdulillah. Bismillah. You can read it. His, hers now. You're 453.
And the earth shall shine with the light of his Lord, and the book shall be laid down, and the prophet shall be brought, and the witnesses too. And true judgment shall be given between them equitably, and they shall not be treated unjustly. And every soul shall be paid in full what it did, and he knows best what you do. Okay, go back to the Washraqatil Ardu again. Read a few and let's give it a commentary on that. The earth shall shine with the light of its Lord.
Right, okay, stop there. وَأَشْرَقَتِ الْأَرْضُ بِنُورِ رَبِّهَا. The earth shall shine with the light of its Lord. Now there's been a long story about this again. You know, this is what is important. I need for you to understand these things here, because if you're going to be reading Quran at home, you've got to understand that scholars are very varied in their differences of opinion. And this is one thing which is lacking in our community because of lack of knowledge and because of lack of referring to text and textual references. We don't seem to realize that in every matter there's a difference. I don't like to use the word difference of opinion, but there are various opinions and various suggestions given by the scholars themselves. So each one presents his perspective. Right? Doesn't necessarily mean they're differing. It means that, they're looking at it from a different angle. And this is in anything in terms of Islamic studies, whether it is fiqh, right? Whether it is tafseer, whether it's hadith, whether it's the interpretation of hadith, etc., etc. Each one looks at it from his different perspective, which gives you a nuanced understanding. Now, what happens is that sometimes, because of the variety of opinions, people think that people are giving different opinions. No, they're looking at one thing from a different perspective, because each one is, so to speak, using all of his intellect to try and arrive at a correct answer. Some of them are sometimes way off base, and that happens, right? And some of them hit the mark, right? And sometimes there are certain things there which you cannot make a tafsir of now, but maybe 200 years from now, right, as mankind evolves and our scientific and our technological developments evolve and so on, you'll be able to understand it better. Today, some ahadith which were regarded as weak by scholars, right, because you didn't have a proper chain of narrators. But the matan, the text of the hadith, right, was understood, but really not really understood. In this era, you begin to understand it perfectly clear. Right? I'll give you an example of that. There's a hadith of the Prophet ﷺ which narrated there, it's narrated by the Ahlul Bayt from the family of the Prophet ﷺ, and he narrated there that I was renewed in the presence of my Lord 14,000 years before the creation of Adam. Right? I always found this very odd. And in terms of the sihha of the hadith, or the strength of the hadith, it was regarded as a weak hadith, blah blah blah, in terms of narration or whatever, right? Until I read the latest scientific evidence, and some scientists for once have come to reach a degree of consensus on this matter. If you ask any scientist how old is planet Earth as you and I, or the world, the universe, the Big Bang, after the Big Bang, they approximate it to 13.6, I think it's billion years. Right? Now it's uncannily, you remember 13.6 goes to, it's how it goes, what do you call it? Law of averages, huh? What do you call it? Law of averages. No man, 5 and over, you make it rounding off, same thing. Law of averages, rounding off, same thing. First cousins, man, first cousins. Right? So 14,000 years, now that's an approximate 13.6, but it's so close to what the Prophet ﷺ said, 14,000. Now remember, there's no billions. There's no millions in the Arabic language. So the Prophet is speaking about this one here. Science today tells you 13.6, plus minus billion, plus minus, plus minus can be a couple of billion here and a couple of billion there, you understand? But the Prophet said 14,000 years before. So these ahadith now are proven or understood better in the light of modern science. We don't say science subscribes to, when we say science subscribes to what the Prophet ﷺ stated in this instance. So various matters like this here are not understood. So what happens is that in these verses, وَأَشْرَقَتِ الْأَرْضُ بِنُورِ رَبِّهَا, right? The Mufassirun, some of them took it literally. Right? Imam Fakhruddin Razi, one of the great scholars of Tafsir, he's by far one of the masters of Tafsir. He also gave his perspectives on it. Now, you can't take it literally that the earth will be, everything is illuminated by the light of your Lord. But that doesn't mean it will be a special light of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that will be illuminating the earth. It will still be the same planetary body, same stars like the sun possibly, or whatever it is there, that will be illuminating it. But the whole point will be that because this will be a special occasion, why will it be a special occasion? Keep the page open, but go to the second volume, right? Go to Surah Al-Fajr. But don't lose the page now. Go to volume number 2. Okay, you're on volume 2, just keep your finger in the page or put a bookmark, whatever it is there. Right? And go to Surah Al-Fajr. That's the important occasion. Quran says there, okay, let's open that up first, because I want you to see. Quran, Inna al-Quran yufassir ba'du ba'dan. Quran, the best tafsir of the Quran is tafsir bil Quran. The best commentary of the Holy Quran is commentary through and from the Holy Quran. Right? So open up Surah Al-Fajr. Adila, you got it? You should be quicker with the, Mohammed, you should be quicker with the iPads, right? Yeah? I can't remember the verse. It's towards the end, before Ya Ayyuhan Nafsul Mutmainnah. O soul at His peace. And your Lord will come, and the angels in rows. Can you, Bismillah, can you?
And the Lord will come, and the angels as well, lined up in rows.
Right. Now, what's going to happen? It's the day of resurrection. You and I have all been resurrected. We are unclothed, we are uncircumcised, right? We are all walking in single file. I like that word, because the Quran uses farda, right? In single file, we are all walking towards resurrection. When we come to the plains of resurrection, any idea where the plains of resurrection are? There are two opinions, I need one. Arafat and? There's a difference of opinion. If you ask the people of Sham, they will tell you that Sham, Yawmul Ardil Mahshar wal Manshar. Sham is the place of gathering and resurrection. right? And the scholars of Hijaz, they will tell you that the plains of resurrection will be the plains of Arafah, right? I say between the two. Considering there's no Arafah anymore, and considering there's no Sham anymore, and considering the earth is going to be a totally different earth, so it's very possible, right, that it could be a mixture of both. Considering there being a couple of solid, 100 billion or so people there, I think it should cover the space between Hijaz and Palestine anyway, right? I mean, you're looking from Adam alayhi salam all the way to humanity currently until the day of Qiyamah. I think there's a large amount of people, and I think they need the spaces as well. Okay, so let's say it starts off in Arafah and ends off in Sham. I think that's please don't take this as an academic point here. Right? I'm so afraid of this camera nowadays. It's like, trust me, with the videos, scholars internationally, just as a side, scholars internationally have become very fearful and very concerned about the rapid spread of what they say. Apparently on Friday, a guy told me by Asr time, oh, you're already on Facebook. I said, what are you talking about? Your Jummah pictures are all up on Facebook. I said, what are you talking about? We don't do this thing. He said, one guy was in a mosque and he was busy clicking away while you were talking and he was giving sound clips. He's already on Facebook. I said, no, let me show you the threat. The guy could have just recorded 2 minutes of mine, totally out of context. And I made some very, very, very bold statements on Friday, right? If the guy just recorded those 2 minutes there, it's very possible that it could be misconstrued. Oh God, right? Now that's a concern, right? So you got to be very careful. I remember there's a famous scholar from America, and he said, please, if I'm talking, I don't want anyone to tweet anything. Don't tweet while I'm talking. And don't quote, 2 minutes, whatever this called, Snapchat or that Vine, the 30-second things or whatever it is there, where they give a 15-second or 30-second soundbite, and he made 3 sentences there, and what the sentence says, oh, he cracked a joke, right? And he used a couple of, 1, 2 lines, and he said something there, and look what this guy said. That's the problem. So this camera thing is a bit of a scary thing anyway. What was I saying? Right, between Arafat and Sham, right? I think in terms of the number of people that will be there, right? It should cover that amount of people. Wallahu alam bisawab, but I'm saying that because the academic argument exists, it will be there, right? What happens? Read the وَأَشْرَقَتِ الْأَرْضُ بِنُورِ رَبِّهَا أَرْشَدْ وَوُضِعَ الْكِتَابُ. Very important. 3 things are happening here. One is that the earth will be illuminated by the light of your Lord. What could possibly be the meaning of the light of your Lord? Read Surah Al-Fajr. Read that again from Yadila. Kalla waja rabbuk. And your Lord will come.
And the Lord will come, and the angels are lined up in rows.
Can someone explain that to me? Your Lord will come. How is he going to come? Allah is beyond coming and beyond going. Allah is beyond traveling. Right? And the Quran says on the day of Qiyamah, right? وَعَرْشُ رَبِّكَ فَوْقَهُمْ يَوْمَئِذٍ ثَمَانِيَةٌ. And the throne of your Lord, the arsh of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, normally there are 4 bearers of the throne. This time on the day of Qiyamah, there will be 8 bearers of the arsh of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But your Lord will come. Which means what? Allah will be on that. What is basically being put across to you, that because it is going to be the day of accounting and day of judgment, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to be meeting out judgment for all of his human beings, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will direct his attention as it behoves him to direct his attention, and people will be in the presence of their Lord. Yeah.
Maybe like, in your courtroom, everyone is there and then the judge comes in.
Exactly. Well, but I like the example. You got the point. Everybody rise. What court is in session, right? Basically, that will be, and we'll all be in that condition, right? And the ultimate judge, Maliki Yawmiddin. Why do you think we say Maliki Yawmiddin 5 times a day? Lord of the day of recompense, Lord of the day of judgment. Waja'a Rabbuk. Can you imagine the presence of your Lord? وَأَشْرَقَتِ الْأَرْضُ بِنُورِ رَبِّهَا. And planet Earth, where accountability of human beings is going to take place, right? Will be illuminated by the light of the Lord. And Malaika will be standing in safs, and the arsh of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will be there. Meaning you won't see the arsh of Allah, but this The arsh represents the seat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's will, of His irada and His qudra. That's the seat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's dominion. That's what it is. It's not a seat, like a king sitting on a chair. This anthropomorphic perspectives that people give sometimes is really ridiculous, and it is a form of shirk to attribute any type of anthropomorphism to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Please be very careful about that. We've had this, we've always had this misconception, and many people, we grow up with this thing here because we have free imaginations. So what God looks like, you understand? So your Lord, so the earth will be illuminated by the light of the Lord, because here it is a special session. Has it happened before? Where all of humanity has been gathered. Exactly. Can you see? That's why I like to link things up. You've already been in this process. The first one was you were asked a question. Am I not your Lord? And the Quran, Allah said, you know why you asked that question? أَن تَقُولُوا يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ. Because on the day of Qiyamah, إِنَّا كُنَّا عَنْ هَذَا غَافِلِينَ. Ya Allah, we were not aware of the day of Qiyamah. We didn't know that we were going to be held accountable. We didn't know that we were going to be held responsible. We didn't know that we had to submit to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. After having submitted there, Allah said, no, bhai. That's why I'm asking you to swear upon yourselves now. You remember Allah to be Rabbikum, why not you not? That's why, so that question of God, I don't know who you are, is not going to cut ice, literally won't cut ice, on the day of Qiyamah. No, we started believing in another God, and we followed our fathers, and who they started actually worshipping gods other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and we are from the progeny. Allah says He's not going to accept those excuses. Every human